Jeremy Adams and Will Conrad continue Wally's battle with Heatwave as the hero tries to balance out his new job with his superheroics, discovering the true reason why Heatwave is up to his old tricks again. Jeremy Adams wraps up his pretty quick two-parter Heatwave storyline and reintroduction to Wally as Flash really well, playing to a lot of Wally's strengths as a hero who just wants to help people he has to battle to be the best they can be and inspire them to change their ways. Wally wanting to understand the villain and not just resort to beating them up was quite fantastic, and what Heatwave has gone through was really sad and made him quite sympathetic. Although the whole idea with his cancer and it coming from his costume because it's made of asbestos, kind of feel like that's a bit silly, mainly because how did he not know that asbestos causes cancer? Surely in researching like stuff for his costume he would have found out that while it's a good insulator, it does cause cancer in humans. I thought that was a little bit too silly. Will Conrad continues his wonderfully detailed artwork, focusing a bit more on the action this time round, but his work really shined in the smaller character moments, especially between Wally and Mick at the end of the issue, with some great close-ups of the characters so your attention is fully on them and nothing else in the scene. The Flash issue 773 was a great ending to the Heatwave new job storyline that perfectly captured the spirit of Wally's Flash and the way he handles his villains and people in need, culminating in a rather wholesome reintroduction to Wally West's Flash. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. The Flash issue 773 finds Wally still dealing with Heatwave, barely dodging the now crumbling hospital. He races outside, finding everyone is out safe, but it's a shame the hospital burnt down, since as the fireman puts it, it was the best cancer hospital in the state. Flash doesn't understand why a reformed villain like Heatwave would do this, wanting to get to the bottom of it as the firefighter knows the hero's job is done for now. Flash thanks the man, but the man wishes he had some of the hero's speed, since it would help in the afternoon commute. Flash heads into the city, going over his confrontation with Heatwave in his head, knowing that something is wrong besides him missing the first 30 minutes of his new job. Wally races back to Terrifitech where his office mates are studying some equations, trying to sort out why the metal they are using keeps melting from the energy source. Wally knows it's the metal itself they are using, saying they are using aluminum, knowing they need something a lot stronger so the energy doesn't melt through it so quickly. He suggests they use copper or silver, knowing that he did something similar with a treadmill. The group ask who Wally is again, so he reintroduces himself as an engineer as they know the gearhead is right. The team gather their belongings to head for lunch as Thomas tells Wally to get on the computer and requisition some copper rods for them. Wally isn't so sure how to use the computer properly, but Marcy knows it's quite easy to use, leaving for the free food in the food court. Wally sets out to work, finding the computers are pretty intuitive. With his work finished, he finds himself bored until he finds another fire has broken out. On the far side of the galaxy, Yellow Lantern Jessica Cruz and her partner track the mysterious blade speeding through space, erecting a wall to try and stop it, but it merely smashes past the construct with little effort. The Lanterns want to report back to Sinestro for more orders since there isn't anything good about this. Wally meanwhile arrives at the pier as Heatwave unleashes more fire, knowing that Flash would turn up, so he's turning up the heat. Flash dodges the flames as he saves a boy from a heat death, reassuring him that he'll get him another teddy bear when this is all over. Flash confronts Mick over getting kids involved in this, but the villain knows he's got to crack a few eggs to cook an omelette. Flash decides to cool things down a bit, using his speed on the ocean water nearby to call in a water tornado, dumping it on the villain and putting his fire out. He tells Mick that he'll punch him 100 times a second or he can just give up, but the villain knows it doesn't matter and none of it does. He reveals a dead man switch which is hooked up to explosives on him, saying that everyone is out there having fun and not thinking about what's going on in the world, but any second that can be taken away. Wally knows that Mick has paid his dues, so why is he back burning things down? Teary-eyed, Mick says that it's because it's the only way people will understand what's important in life, and there is a moment before it all catches fire when it all seems okay. Flash realizes he burnt down the hospital because he is sick, and Mick confirms he is, saying that while people have been saying that for years, this time they were actually right, knowing he thought the asbestos in his suit was protecting him, but instead it was killing him. Flash asks how blowing everyone up is the answer, but Mick asks why can't it be, since life doesn't matter and it's a series of accidents. Wally knows he's wrong since life has purpose and meaning, but it's all up to the person to find it. Instead of putting effort into burning things down, it's time to build things up. The hero asks Mick if it's time time for him to change his ways, offering to help Mick, who relents, giving up the trigger. Later on, Mick is arrested, with Flash saying that he's talked to a doctor friend of his and he'll come and see Mick next week to help him. One of the cops asks why he was being so nice to the villain, so Flash says that part of his job isn't just to save people, but to inspire them too, since how else can they change the world? Cop knows that she's not trying to, she's just waiting till quitting time. Wally remembers his job suddenly, racing back to the lab and getting there just before the others return from lunch. He tells them that he was just installing the copper piping, impressing Thomas, who compliments his great first aid, telling him to knock off early. Wally appreciates it, since he wanted to pick up some barbecue for the family. Later on, Wally sits down to dinner with his family, making more of his dad jokes as Linda tells him to set an example for his children. Heatwave meanwhile is thrown into Belle Reve, where he is confronted by Amanda Waller, who wants to give him a purpose on the Suicide Squad.